Welcome back, everybody, to the XPAND podcast. This is your host, Zarin Beatty, and I am in here in the XPAND studio with Ricky Steele.
What is up, brother?
Bro, how are you?
I'm great. I'm so great. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, of course, dude. You're only the second person to be on our show twice now, which is actually pretty cool.
I think so as well. Man. What you've built, what you're doing is truly amazing, and for you to want me to be part of it is an honor. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, dude. That means a lot. I mean, we've had the chance to go out to dinner multiple times the past few months and really kind of get on the same page on where we are in life and kind of our paths and where they're going. It's been really, really cool to bond with you more.
Absolutely. I agree, man. It's far and few between you get to have a conversation as true and real and as deep as we're able to, man. It's beautiful. And
100%.
I appreciate your friendship, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. It's so mutual. And you've actually been floating a decent amount of times the past few months as well in preparation for your pretty huge fight, man, on the Dana White Contender series.
The floating, yes, absolutely. Something I have you to thank for, introducing me to floating, and I've been able to use it as a technique to absolutely, wake up primed and ready on the days that I need to, tracking using my HRV, which, we talk about all the time. I think is still one of the most underlooked, not known, brand new things out. But yeah, so again, thank you, brother.
It's my absolute honor. And one of the things, dude, that freaking blew me away about your HRV score was when you came in, you messaged me the morning you showed up red on your score.
Yep.
And the next morning after floating, you were completely green again.
I was green, yeah.
Dude, that freaking blew me away.
It was awesome. I knew, the red days are not good. It means, from one way or another, your nervous system is just totally blown out of whack. For me, I went down to Las Vegas that required some media scrum and as well as, a few short, hard workouts on top of a couple stressful nights and situations. Anyways, it just, when I got back, I was exhausted mentally, physically, and so, yes, I did. I woke up red and I was like, you know what? I need to do something, that we've been talking about. I've floated before, but never during a fight camp. So I've never been regulating as I do and take notice to these things. But I did. I floated and just slept amazing, which of course is everything, and I woke up like a brand new, person, like a brand new fighter. I was so motivated, I was so strong, ready, going into it. It was great. And then I just had those 3-4 days that I was gone out of town, and like I said, it was just a number of things, the media, the workouts and the flights and the long nights and stuff like that. So it was truly great. And so from there on, I was able to use it on days that I knew, that I would show. Because of that, actually, I truly credit, that was my one and only red, we call it red day, to where I was truly overtrained. And, I was able to manage it then with a regular routine of floating there on out. And, I never did hit red again on my orange days that I knew I needed to do something. I would hit you up. I'd have my normal routine then down by that. And so, just to learn this when I did, it was just absolutely perfect, man. On top of everything else, like I said, that just worked out. And I feel this was truly something great that I was able to add in and that I will, from here take and do more homework and my own research and, trial by error. So,
well, we've talked about a lot of times where you have now reached a point in your experience level where you can really iron out those details. You have years and years and years in the game, man, and it seems like you've completely reached a whole other phase.
Yeah, and that's how I feel too. And this is all so wonderful to me right now, because just like that, I feel reborn in it. I have been doing it a long time, but honestly, I don't have a whole lot of fights. And again, we were talking, with the injuries that I had, unfortunately, I was sidelined for about half the time I've been doing it, 8 years now. And, but for the first time ever, I'm healthy. And I feel like I've, because of those situations I was forced in and the rehabs over and over and over, I've learned about doing what we always talk about, these small things that just add up and make all the difference in the world. Because, when you get something taken away from you, it just, you do. You got to figure it out. And we're finally starting to, figure it out. And I've been, doing my homework and research, and I've had enough fights to know. And, it's been working out great, man. I made it through this last fight healthy. And that's what I was most excited for. I kept thinking like, well, get through this fight first. But to be able to take away all that experience, because each and every single fight, the magnitude of experience, how much you learn. I mean, it just mentally, you might know all the moves, but being able to mentally like do it for reals when it, matters most. And in those high stressful moments and situations, you learn and you gain so much from those. So that's like ring time and experience is everything. But, unfortunately for other circumstances, it's just sometimes when you're taken away, there's always something you can do. There's always little things that I've learned that's able to like, and mental being the most, that is just able to keep you in the game. I come back, I don't believe in ring rust, you know what I mean? Like I come back, I take off right where I left off, I come back on the mats, and I've learned because my mind's always in it. My mind's always playing it. And so,
I feel like that level of perspective can go with you wherever you are too.
Absolutely.
Especially in business or
absolutely. Man.
You're a business owner. You understand this as well. I really do think about like our platform as a foundation with multiple different pillars. The podcast is a pillar. Our apparel is a pillar. The products that we're coming out with are pillars. And when certain pillars need strengthening, or they're firmly set, then you can go and work on other things. Right. Or if one's down, then you can let that recover and put your energy into other parts.
Absolutely.
So that's I don't know if that's a martial arts mentality or what that is, but.
Well, it's just a good mentality. Like these little things that you learn, and if you're smart enough to take advantage of, the martial arts, I was lucky enough, I say, smart enough, but I was just lucky. The martial arts taught me all these wonderful basic fundamentals and foundations, and just straight up basics. Basics is everything. Without basics, you have nothing. My grandfather's always preached that. My sensei, my instructor, in karate, we do the same punches and kicks that I've done since I was 6 years old. People say my striking looks so, advanced or whatever. Really, it's just basics done proper, like basics done right. And it's just, and there's nothing really, crazy fancy about it, you know what I mean? And so it's time. There's no fronting that. It's just time and, hard work.
Something really cool about our relationship since the last time that we've done a podcast is I've brought you through a steel mace workout. You've brought me through a pad session. Yeah. We've really gotten to kind of know each other for sure. Yep. And or jumping in the river, bro.
Yeah.
Everything, man.
No, I mean it. When our conversations, they hold you to a level of like just the self-awareness that we were both trying to search for or whatever. It's like you put me in check, and it's just, there's no, it's very rare that you get to, have a friend like that just makes you want to be better, because you know what I mean? And it's just, I feel like you're on that level, and I get those vibes, and it's beautiful, man. It's amazing. I love where you're headed, love what you're doing, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Bro, thank you.
Yeah.
Again, as always. And dude, it's so cool to just kind of be doing things that interest you and have people like you show up, man. And we've talked about this many times, where if you can learn how to be who you are, then you attract people who enjoy who you are. And you can really dig deep into the things that are meaningful to you. But it takes that courage to be vulnerable and really perhaps stand on your own with something.
And that's, like I said, the martial arts is my teacher. It's taught me. You talk about being vulnerable, like you lay it all out on the line. You don't just lose, you know what I mean? You get hurt, and you gotta, be willing to take that risk. And I just fought in front of my daughter for the first time. And not only did I have the UFC contract on the line, like that was in the back of my mind, and I was able to tell you that at dinner, and I meant it, every word of it. I said, if anything, I hope I win this fight for my daughter, and so
you did.
And I did, man, and it was great. And not only that, I learned so much from that fight. It was that last fight I had with Suman, he hit me hard and hurt me right off the bat. He kind of like you hear that fight or flight mode. He put me in that mode where I was just fighting. I didn't even remember the fight until they showed it to me, a week after. And I loved it. I loved what I saw. I loved that, I was able to do that, when it mattered most and stuff. So this fight here, I was so in the moment, just the whole entire fight, it went down exactly how I knew it was going to go down in my mind. The mental reps, I saw it play out. His style, I studied. I knew what my style would do when put in that situation. And it happened the exact same way. Like, I wasn't even breathing hard at the end of the, first round, just because I knew I've already seen him. The fight hadn't even really started yet. You know what I mean? I was already winning. And so I was just winning, and it was great. It was an amazing feeling. You talk about just honing in, you're trying to be perfect for 15 minutes, absolutely perfect for one. It only takes a second, and you can lose. And so I was just, the eye contact, I've seen his breathing, I was
yeah, that's
feeling
one thing
it.
that really blew me away about your response about the fight. Is you were saying that you were watching every single
He came
breath.
hard and fast, just like I knew he would. He would try to get me up against the cage. He would use every ounce of strength, trying, just like I knew he would. And when I reversed him, when I escaped, just like I knew I would, it was right back to doing, what I did and moving. And I did, man. It was after the second time, his attempt to get me against the cage, again, just holding, pushing, not even really. I probably could have gotten away a little earlier than I did, but it was just going so perfect as planned. It's just how I saw it. I feel that energy just off him. He's just giving it everything, and I've got my technique proper, and I'm just like barely even breathing, just focusing, and not even thinking really. And there's no need to think. I'm just doing, because I just know. And so he broke away, took that deep breath, and it just, I want to watch the fight with you and show you, because it's like you can see me immediately see it and respond by just jumping in his face, front kick to the gut, and just able to control it the way I saw it play out a million times.
There's something so special when you can slow your breath rate down and be in that deep state of knowing.
Yes.
It's this confidence, man, where you're just like, you have deep faith and gratefulness, and you're just present, man.
There's nothing like it. I can't even begin to put words to explain it. Fighting gives us that. Fighters, you'll it's I guess you might call it a rush, but it's something so much more. You're alive, like you've never felt, living. It truly is beautiful. It brings the best out in you. You're so focused and just alive. Like I said, there's just no way to explain it.
Two things that I could go off of right here would be, one is meditation and floating. From my experience, I really know that they help people and myself really delve deep into the autonomic nervous system and the body's natural process, and to trust it and to kind of build a relationship with that part of yourself, those more primal senses of our functioning. And since you were floating, how did you really feel the difference in your perspective during the fight compared to previous fights?
So I've told you a couple times when I've floated, after the first, probably I would say 10, 15 minutes, it gets hard for me. I'm moving, I'm trying to stretch and move around, and I'm just kind of enjoying, just kind of laying there, falling asleep, maybe trying to. But, I was just kind of at a different place, like during fight camp here, during these times, these sessions. So I was just, truly trying to maximize the benefit and just dive in and feel what this is all about, because it was great. It was new to me too. And so, of course, meditating, I know how great and how important it is. It's still one of the things that I, want to work on and will, but, it forced me to, be in those situations. And I had this one time in general, and I remember telling you, I wanted to tell you about it. And it truly was like, it was beautiful, because first you had the music, at first, and I enjoyed the music. It kind of just like made me, I'm there on my stressful, hard days where I'm probably not feeling the best or whatever for one reason or another. So, you just let it all float away, really. And that's kind of, funny, huh? But, I truly just kind of used the first few, like, it's hard to say because there's, how much time, but, I tried to meditate and did, and had a great, just felt great. And then I would just visualize, like, this was one of the times where I was just visualizing this fight, and it just felt so perfect and so natural. And then I would just, I would pray, and it was a beautiful moment for me where I was like, yeah, this is definitely on top of going home and sleeping better and all the benefits that I got from floating. Like, this right here is really truly, what it's about. And there's more to this. And I want more of that. You feel that, and you're just like, whoa, from what? From, thinking, like, but yeah.
It's so fascinating how common of an experience it is for people to be uncomfortable for the first 10, 15 minutes. And it's
sure, I could see how it'd feel weird. Yeah.
Super common.
Yeah.
And then with what you just shared, kind of having this ability to be present in the uncomfortable situations.
Right, because that's exactly what I'm getting ready for. I'm getting ready to be thrown in the most uncomfortablest situation. And so I just saw it as a opportunity, really. Like, this is.
And then to find that peace in there,
exactly,
bro.
Exactly.
That is so crazy.
Yep. Yeah, it was great.
That is what meditation should be. And that's what it is for most people. We have this inability to sit still for a few minutes, but then once you can kind of break through that, you get to actually experience the benefits of what's going on.
And I've always, I'm a napper. I love to sleep anyway. So that was, definitely what I would just love to do is sleep. But yeah, man, I was able to just dig layers deep. Like I said, I was able to just feel the moment. You're trying to feel, there's certain things like when you're walking out, when you're kind of like essentially stepping up to a cage naked, essentially, just the feeling of the canvas for the first time, the feeling of like being right underneath the lights, just being in that cage. It's a weird kind of feeling or whatever, but and a lot of times you'll get that feeling, like I'll see it or whatever, and you'll just like, yes, like go with it. Yes, because that's when you go to do it for real. It's like I've been here before, but you get these feelings, and a lot of times, like, this is what they call that when you do something for the very first time, it's all like an adrenaline dump or whatever, and it's just so crazy, it's so hectic. But when you're able to just be peace at mind, and calm yourself, and it's just walking into the cage. They let me walk into the cage, actually. It was kind of I was so mentally prepared and ready, and everything felt perfect, but the day of the morning of the fight was super stressful for me. Every other day weigh-ins, everything was great, and I just woke up feeling, of course, nervous. You always are, but just really stressed for some reason. And I wasn't able to sleep. Usually I take a nap during, before I head down to the arena. Sleep like a baby. I always do, always have before competition. This time I laid there for 2.5 hours, like just breathing, just trying to focus on my breathing, understanding the situation I was in, but not trying to panic, not trying to freak out at all, because I knew I was ready, knew I was prepared. There's still not a doubt, but I'm just, dealing with the circumstances I'm handed. I'm stressed, but I get to the arena, and it just it all just went away, and it was so weird. Like, they let me into the cage for like 3 minutes to just warm up, and I had my good buddy Scott Jorgensen there, and I told him to stand there, and I did. I stood across the cage from him, and I looked at him in the eyes, and then I said, okay, let's spar for a second. I got to move around for just a second, and I just felt so at home, it just like I've envisioned it, already been there 1,000 times. And, when I got out into the cage, the second I walked through the doors, it was eye contact for me. It was like, I just couldn't wait to be there. I was loving it. Like I said, just in the moment, and seeing little things like this guy, it was a fun fight, man. He kind of talked a lot before the fight, said some things like, he wasn't going to touch gloves. That was his biggest deal. He wasn't going to touch gloves. He's going to run across the cage and try to tear my head off. And so when I get in there, it's like, again, from the second I walked out the doors, I got this guy's eyes on me, and I'm not leaving, and he is, you know. And then he's asking me if I want to touch gloves. So I just saw these little moments. I was winning, you know. I was just winning. I saw it play out perfect, and it was fun.
It was so damn cool to hear Dana White be like, I don't know why that was a split decision.
Yeah.
Because I personally thought it was a unanimous decision as well.
I was almost perfect, man. Like I said, it don't take long. He helped me with some hard shots there at the end, no doubt about it. It was that alone there was a crazy, fun, surreal moment for me. Like, I was in total perfect control, and like we talk about these tiny details, the situations and basics, right? And so when you're working that clinch, like I was just. It's hard to hold a grown man there and not let him move, but yet beat him up, you know, the whole time while you're doing it. And when he was holding me, like it was everything, every ounce of strength he could do to try to take me down. And it was a matter of time before he got turned around. You know, he had no choice but to be there. You know, I was dominating every position, every hand movement, every control. But for 1 second, I lost inside bicep control, and he had it and landed one hard elbow. And so, you know, last thing I knew I was winning. And then I'm waking up in the cage with this man just throwing and I see it happening so slow. Just a huge uppercut, boom, it hits me, and a huge overhand, boom, and it hits me too. And I'm like, oh, okay, go in for the double leg, which I get the takedown. He puts me into a submission, but now I'm awake. I'm back in the fight, and I'm able to fight it off, you know. But going back now, watching the tape, I was like, whoa, what happened? We're going back immediately to the corners or back into the locker rooms. Like, what in the world was that? Or what hit me? Because I was out on my feet, and his coach said, yeah, you got you with an elbow. And, you know, during that, like, it was only like 4 seconds, but that seems like an eternity in a fight, 100%. You know? So he hit me with the elbow twice, boom. And it's like, I'm just reaching, trying to grab on. Thank God the cage was there, you know, or probably would have ended up on the floor. But yeah, I just woke up and boom, was just right there, boom, alive again in the moment, and just was able to react and do something. And so, you know, it's not something you really want to do, but it's good to know, like, you know, shoot, man, it's going to take a hell of a punch to get me out, you know, and even if you get it with me, like, I'm still going to be there fighting. So it's good to see. It's
incredible to hear the inside perspective on what happened, because it looked like you got rocked, but you don't ever know until somebody expresses it.
Sure.
And even with you being rocked, you were still reaching and like very in the moment. Sure. You were going towards
that's what I thought too.
The combat instead of trying to pull away, right?
Yeah, or falling down, or
100%.
Yeah.
Like, you were like pushing and trying to really stay engaged, and that's incredible instinct.
Yeah. Which is great. Like I said, my most favorite takeaway from the Simon fight, it brought that out in me with the beginning of the fight, and so I was able to fight the whole fight. But this was without a doubt different because I was out on my feet, you know. Yeah. So yeah, learned a lot, man, you know.
How do you feel overall about the whole Dana White Contender Series experience? Because I don't know how much you want to share in terms of, you know, what we've talked about, but
I think just the timing of it, you know, the timing of it in my life at the moment was just so perfect. And you know, yeah, absolutely. I found out the same day this opportunity, I found out that you know, my girlfriend and I are having, you know, a baby, we thought at the time, which now turns into babies. So it was just literally the same day, which I thought was just so weird, you know. And two most important things to me, you know, it's martial arts and kids. And so it's summertime, you know, I'm super busy right now, in the most busy, you know, busiest season that I've got. And so you know, just trying to juggle the both, just truly making each moment of each day count was wonderful. You know, it was just making you be the best person you can be, you know. So
there's something about big opportunities and big experiences that really ground us into our deepest form of potential.
Without a doubt.
It's like we internally know that we have to be that version of ourselves, yes. Or like, who the fuck knows what's going to happen.
Right.
So we just like hone into that. It's whether it's a competition or, I mean, there's a lot of different things.
Yeah, there is a lot of things, and you owe it to yourself to understand, when or what, that if that opportunity arises or that situation it gets, laid in your lap, or, you have to do it.
I know that you mentioned, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, and please stop me if you don't. But the fact that you're in a position now that if someone gets injured, that you're probably going to get called up because of the whole scenario.
We were able to beat another tough opponent,
Dude,
and so
yeah.
The good thing about this is really they do only care about what's on paper. They wanted to see more knockouts, and of course, who doesn't? But I was presented with the situation with the Ultimate Fighter and whatnot, where really it allows like them to kind of dig deeper into the scenario. Like I've been hurt. I've fought with a broken foot four times out of more fights than not. Have I either had a broken foot going into it or broke it during the fight? And each time after a fight, I usually have to, unfortunately, have a surgery or I'm laid off. And so when another fight does come up, I literally come from doing nothing to straight into 100%, fight camp. And so really, yes, I'm in a situation right now where they want to see more consistency, which is great. I'm healthy for the first time. I made it out of a fight, like ready to try. I'm back to training again already. And this is what I wanted so much, is just to build on what I've already have and know. I was in great shape for this fight. I pushed a pace from start to finish in the clinch. There was a shoulder. I was always doing something, always moving. I was fresh, could have kept going. You
were a complete professional against an undefeated fighter again.
And made it look easy. He was a
did.
great fighter, and, And so it was perfect. I was just, I grew so much. I learned, like, taken away from this fight, I already have a stack of notes, things that I want to tighten up and will, if you know me, like, you best believe. And so just being able to get right back to work, I was in good shape, but still came from, like I had 8 weeks to get ready, which is a lot of time, but, now knowing what I know and stuff and just being able to build right on to what I've got is amazing, so.
Yeah, building on our own foundation with experiences like you just had, dude.
Yes.
I mean, that's what builds you into be the person who can actually compete in the UFC.
Yeah.
And it's so fascinating to me because I really do feel like the reason that Dana White didn't accept you was the reason why he should have accepted you. And it was the fact that you haven't fought since the Ultimate Fighter. And that, to me, was so interesting because you won on the Ultimate Fighter against another top-level athlete. Come back essentially rusty, not competing, and you still beat another top-level undefeated fighter.
Yeah.
That, to me, that shows like your overall
So I tell you how much
potential.
I've learned each and every single fight, but it's far and few between, you know what I mean? But still look at the changes I'm able to make, the adjustments, and how much better I get each time. Like, I'm ready to go right back to work. Like, with this so fresh, it's not even funny. Like, I really feel this whole deal, there's just the contract, I don't feel too bad about it one bit. Like, I don't feel it's going to be a couple more extra chapters in the middle of the book, and this is why we do it, is the journey, and I truly, truly just love to fight. And it was an amazing experience. I felt so right at home. Like, I'm going to have big fights ahead of me. There's not a doubt about it. If it was, we got a couple things in works and on the tables I can't talk about yet, but trust me, we're excited. We're in a better spot. We're in a great spot. Like you said, we're undefeated. We've had hard fights. We've been tested, and now I'm ready to get right back to work. So, and that's what I'm going to do.
I love that you just said, we're undefeated. I really pay attention when people say I or we. And you brought it in an aspect where it could have, in theory, very easily been said as I.
No, absolutely
it's a fucking
not, man.
team,
it
bro.
It's totally a team, man. I was blessed truly blessed. We talk about the martial arts. It was given to me, like, as most people never find what they love or their calling or anything. I was given it to me, as a kid, and given it to me again as an adult, when I needed it most. And the people, the support I've had, my family, my friends, it's so unbelievable. Again, I can't even put words to it, but the way Idaho supports me each and every single time I fight, and I do, man, I fight for everybody. I fight for love. The martial arts, everything is just love. And it's taught me, the people it's introduced me to, everything it's just so beautiful. It's so pure. I love it. And, I just hope to give back. Absolutely. So when I say we, I absolutely mean it, man. I truly feel like I'm fighting for us all, just for love, man. And it's beautiful. I love it. I love to be in the position I'm in. I'm truly honored and blessed.
You're a good dude.
Thank you, brother.
You're a damn good dude.
Yeah, thank you.
You fight for your family. You fight for the people you love and your own passions and the overall collective effort from your team, man. You can really feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. People that call me an inspiration, it just blows me away. To just do what I love to do. Really, that's easy, man, and I just love to spread that, and just anybody can feel this way, anybody can truly be happy. You get it from family. I get it from family too, but just indulge, in the good, because it's all good, man. Life is good.
I went through all of the comments on Dana White's page and the UFC page and everything on the posts that were, involving you. First of all, the UFC page blew you up, dude.
It was cool.
The multiple posts about you, from the Ultimate Fighter to the Dana White. It was a really cool highlight on you, man. And then to have the love that Dana showed for you in that video, and him reposting that, it was really cool to see dozens and dozens of people in the comments say that they're overlooking you. And give this dude a contract, man. The
thing is, like I said, it's about what's on paper with them, totally. Which is really sad, because I do feel the situation I was put in. I have the one, and if any, that should be have been looked into a little bit deeper. It's just, if I didn't have enough fights and couldn't have been there, then why even really have me on the show? You know what I mean?
Sure.
And but. So like I said, though, I know Dana likes me, and we're in good talks, with them. I'm on that, what's called a short list, whatever.
Totally.
But, that being said, there's no doubt in my mind, or I think in anybody else's.
It's only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time. So I don't feel like this is just a minor speed bump. If even that, I hate even calling it a speed bump. Mm-hmm. I don't look at it like that one bit. It's all good, man.
And I love that you aren't looking at it that way.
Yeah, not at all, man.
I can feel it in the words you use and how you're expressing.
I'm not going to lie. Winning a fight is truly the best feeling you will ever feel. You did it for everybody. You know what I mean? You just want it for everybody. And it's so much stress and relief just instantly, Yeah. And it's wonderful. It's the most amazing high. You hear it's the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, and I do believe that. But having any reason or thing that could change that, it did, not getting awarded the contract it brought a tear to my eye. I'm not gonna lie, I was sad, that night. And when I was fine. I was totally fine until my daughter comes running up to me in the hotel, and my girlfriend, and they helped me pack my stuff out of the hotel, and but it was, it was good. Everything's so good. It bothered me that night, and then that's it. I haven't thought about it since. Honestly, it really hasn't bothered me at all. And so,
dude, it's so important. I believe a person like you, a professional athlete at the level that you are at, to share human emotions with people, especially right here on this platform, dude, to not just try and fucking puff up your chest, but to be a human, dude.
I hate that.
Shit's so important.
It is.
It's so relatable. And it makes a journey way more realistic for people.
Absolutely. And that's, if anything I can say, like, that's, people do look at me like, I'm kind of probably tougher or strong, which I will, I'm only as strong or as tough as I have to be, you know what I mean? And minutes at a time, like, man, it's you take everything, one day at a time, every problem, like, head on. It's just really not, it's just, it's just what I love to do, and what I've learned, that you just don't give up. You really don't. That's, I guess it is kind of being mentally strong and stuff. You never give up. You have your beliefs. You know what you're fighting for, and whatever else, you're going to get hit along the way. I guess that's why fighting's so perfect too. Like, you're gonna get those bumps and bruises without a doubt, but the outcome, winning, is everything. It really is.
What were some of the biggest lessons that you've learned through this past experience? Something that's like just deeply embedded in you now.
Just knowing that, just what I said, man, just never give up. It's a lot easier. It's really easy to say, but when you're put in the situations, to actually really just know you're going to fight with everything you've got, and then some more, then whatever else happens is going to happen. You know what I mean? It's going to be an epic battle. If anything, you're going to learn, you're always going to learn, it's lessons, not losses. But, I truly feel like the mental reps, everything I talk about, I've learned so much with, I've learned so many great techniques and workouts and all this and that, but, it's all mental, man. You know what I mean? It really is.
What did Jorgensen say? And who's your other coach?
Jesse Brach.
Jesse Brach.
Yep, Jesse Brach.
What did they both say about the whole experience?
They were both super happy with the performance. They liked what I showed. Jesse's was kind of fuck the UFC at the moment. You don't need them to, tell you, you're doing what you need to do and where you're at, need to be. And Scotty, same thing, just keep the momentum going. This is, again, something we talked about. They want to see me be active. It's not, again, it's not if, it's when. They want to see another fight before the end of the year, and that's understandable, so yeah, gladly oblige.
Life, bro.
Yeah, life.
It's incredible to come together right here when both of our personal experiences are going through major waves of change.
Yep.
With a lot of people don't know, and they might know by the time this episode is released, but we're going through a major brand identity renewal right now. We have a new website being made literally as we speak.
Right on.
New logos coming, new everything. You have 2 kids coming on the way, bro. Right, twins. Are they identical?
They're identical.
Dang, that's beautiful.
It is. And girls, so say a prayer for me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful, man, to, connect with another person in a very similar part of their journey. Yep. In completely different ways.
We both put in a lot of work to get where we're at, but we talked about the work now is just beginning, and the journey is it's still young, man, and that's what it's all about. And so you're living it up, I'm living it up. We got a lot of work to do, man, but we're gonna get it done. It's awesome.
We're getting it done. It's getting done.
Yes, sir.
One thing that I really loved about working mitts with you and working out with you the couple of times that we have was your ability to keep distance and your ability to, honestly, I threw some combos with you that I've never thrown before. It was just this different twist on karate and just a different flow that I've ever experienced, but it felt so natural how the legs followed the feet and then the hands came with it.
Yeah.
I freaking love learning from people with experience in completely different backgrounds. It opens up your perspective so damn much to the same concept, how to throw 4 limbs. There's a million different ways to throw 4 limbs. Yep. And it's just you keeping your posture and you keeping your distance was super fascinating to me. and you absolutely drilled that in your last fight.
Yes.
You owned the
that's,
entire distance.
That's, yeah. And it was so good for me because for me, I need to get closer. You know, I'm always like, always out, you know, safe, my space. But I'm now learning that, man, it's just, there's that threshold too. When you're standing that close to somebody, you know, every thought, every feeling is ATP just burning slowly. And so when you're just standing that close to somebody, it's kind of like you're always, you know, tensed and ready, like he's always ready to fire that big hand that I know is coming. Just standing there in that space is a move, is, you know, working, you know, is winning, and just owning that distance. And yes, and so plus I've got the reach on these guys, I usually always do, and I've got the style that goes with it. So I was good. I was able to get closer, you know, in with this fight, and it was but you know, I want to get even closer, you know, and so it's just each and every single time I feel better, and you know, can't wait for the next.
I've never heard about every thought being ATP burning.
Every single thought. And that's why, like, going back to putting yourself in that situation, it's like when I'll be driving sometimes, like when you feel yourself getting ready or envision yourself getting ready to jump off a high dive or something, like it's just, you're sitting up there. For me, it's like when we see ourselves getting into that cage, like it's a scary moment or whatever, and it's a moment that could burn a lot of your energy. All these situations, like standing there staring at your opponent in the eye, you know, that's not something you normally do. It's not something you ever do. It's the only something you do at that time, you know, game time to, you know, compete. The walking down the aisle to fight, you know, walking. And it's all kind of like that, you know. It could all like drain your energy and be stress and adrenaline dump and stuff like that. So trying to put yourself in those situations more and think about it more and be, you know, hone in on the moment, it just totally could be an advantage.
Those visceral experiences from the moment itself, actually being at the fight, to be able to recreate that same like biological chemical response.
It's weird, man. It really is weird.
Damn.
That sometimes, I mean, it's weird, and I don't know if other people are able to do that, but I have
it's
been
so hard.
Like, just, I see it, and sometimes, like, you know, your heart will get going, and it's just like, you know, a lot of times you wouldn't want to be in that situation, or, you know, to think those thoughts and stuff, or shit, maybe even being put in a bad situation, you know what I mean? Like, you know, roll with it. I really truly believe sometimes, like, I've had thoughts, I've had visions, I'd be driving, like, I'll zone out and just think of sparring or these techniques or these movements, and then like just kind of come to like, oh man, I just like downloaded, you know what I mean? Like I just literally learned thinking. And so I've always done that kind of growing up. I've had those moments, I've been able to notice these moments and really like know for a fact that I've gotten better from these visions, from these thoughts and these mental reps. And so I've always kind of known the importance to it. And so, you know, this whole time too, like with the fighting, with this style, this fighter I was fighting, it was great to be able to, you know, see it play out that way. And I truly, like, you watch the fight, you don't even see me breathing hard. Like halfway into the first round, you know, my mouth is closed still because I was just, you know, it was perfect.
You were completely in control.
Yes, I was.
Completely in control.
Yep.
And that's where the aspect of it being a unanimous decision is also on the table from, you know, a perspective without the numbers and such. But yeah, I don't know, dude.
Even the numbers.
Man, I know.
Numbers, like, but
I know.
Again, too, looking back at the watching it, you probably don't know how hurt I was. Even, you know, a judge, even if you give him that round, maybe you give him that round, but no, you know, he took me down, never hit me once. You know, I was able to, you know, get control, get my posture. I went for my favorite sweep, wasn't there, kicked off, ducked because I knew he had one big punch coming. You know, as I'm getting up, put my hand up, he swung, he jumped on my back. Okay, now it's hand position right where we were, shake him off, end up on top. Never hit me one time. Like, we had an answer for everything, you know, and it was great.
Continual presence.
Yeah, had an answer for everything. And like I said, own the clinch. It's not hard it is hard to you know, to be able to fight that style, and it's very taxing and stuff too. And so the conditioning, everything, like, it was just great.
I love showing or sharing with people who don't know much about fighting how brutal shoulder checks are and how brutal leg kicks are,
Sure.
dude. People don't understand unless you get hit with one.
Right.
Like, you actually don't. You're unable to comprehend
Yep.
what a leg kick feels like
Sure.
until you actually feel one.
Yeah, especially my bony little shanks going into that leg. Believe
Just
that.
Picking apart, man.
Yeah.
It's so brutal. Fighting is such a crazy dynamic
Yep.
of a sport.
Yep.
And to be so present and to be able to absorb damage and still dish damage
Yep.
and keep your breath and feel their breath and be in this pocket of a gravitational pull where you are two planets like revolving around each other and
Yes.
nothing else is even in
Yeah,
existence.
that's right. You know, especially this type of scenario. The Ultimate Fighter was, I look at it this way. I'm 2-0 in the UFC. I don't care what you say. You know, I fought in the two most stressful situations you can. The Ultimate Fighter, it was kind of all on that, but minus your family, you know, and friends that were able to there, which was just took it to a whole nother level, if you can even. But it's quiet. There's no crowd. There's no music. You know, there's no walkout songs or anything like that. You know, it's literally cameras, producers. This time you had a handful of my handful of family, his handful of family. You know what I mean? And you hear bone smacking bone. You know, you hear the gurgling. You hear the breathing. you know what I mean? Like all of that of fight. Like if you don't know, like it's a. You know what I mean? It's a fight. And so it's like, you watch it on TV, you sometimes, like, it's just hard to say. But when you see it real, raw, and live, and especially, you know, a fight like that in an arena like that, you know, it's just our families, you know, everything on the line. It was one hell of a situation, man, that, you know, man, it made me better, you know, facing it head on. Like, shoot, man, just put me in check each and every single, like I said, I had 8 weeks. That was 8 weeks that I lived perfect, the best I can, you know what I mean? Did everything I could. And, you know, tough, like, you know, because my girl was going to be there too. Like, you know, like to think I'm as tough as they come, really. But if that's not motivating, you know, I don't know what is. And so, you know, it was great, but I was up for it, man. I was game, and I was not going to lose without a fight. Like, he had to kill me that night.
When a fight is that private, the sounds of an actual flush strike are something out of this world.
Yeah.
Like, your nervous system recognizes that some damage was just inflicted on another human being. It's not blocked out by the crowd, by anything. And to be able to really perform under that kind of pressure or lack of pressure, dude, what a crazy test that was for you as a human being.
Sure, man. It's just even trying to hit somebody as hard as you can. Trying
There's
not to be
mental
hit.
blocks with that.
Oh my
There's
gosh.
so
It's
much
such
to
a
it.
weird feeling. I've trained martial arts my whole life, but there's still nothing like trying to hit or kick somebody as hard as you can. Another living person, you know what I mean? Like,
how did you feel when you found out that you were going to be in this?
I felt amazing. I felt, you know, again, it's for us, we feel it's not a matter of, you know, if, it's just a matter of when. And, you know, we know the situation we were put in with, you know, coming off yet again another surgery. I haven't fought since the Ultimate Fighter. Before that, it was a while, and so we knew we were going to have to crunch in some fights. But to be able to get one right off the bat of this magnitude was amazing. You know what I mean? If anything, it's like we're still right there, you know. And and now we're in a better position than ever, really. So, you know, it's just I honestly feel my career is just reborn. Like, I feel like I'm just getting started again. Like, I really feel this is the beginning right here.
Yeah,
the
I feel
beginning.
it from you.
Yep,
I feel
this
it with
is
you,
man. Like, just wait and watch.
Something I'd love to dig in with you. It's a kind of a side note to what we're talking about, but you mentioned that you've thought a lot of times, or you've had visions, and then you've received a download from that vision.
Uh-huh.
And in meditation, and lots of moments where I've had a visionary experience, whether it's just driving or something, you can actually receive a visceral download.
Sure.
What do you think that is, bro? What is a download where you get smarter from a vision, dude? Right. Some part of your mind is producing something where your body is like, oh, boom, pieces connect. Yep. This is where it should go. And you actually register it.
I don't know how you could ever like put a name to it. I don't know. It's beautiful though. Like, and there's something special and more, you know what I mean? Like I feel that this is things that we're so capable of doing, you know, and none of us just know how, you know, really.
Yeah, even until you experience it, it's hard to even know what it is.
Oh, sure. It's not, I mean, trust me, I wish I could be doing it each and every single day, you know, but it's just not like those moments. You have those moments, you know, it's like I'm always thinking fighting, you know, and stuff, but you just have a couple of these moments, man, they're just truly special. It's like you're plugged in.
How important do you think those moments are outside of training? Because when you're in training, you don't really get that opportunity to have those downloads in that same way.
Yeah.
It's almost as if dirt gets kicked up and the water finally settles, and that's when those real recognitions come.
Yeah, I mean, the more the better. It's like I said, you don't really have, you know, probably control of when, but if it's just you always, the more times you feel it, like it's kind of like riding a bike, you know, it'd be like, oh, I've done this before, you know, once or twice. So it's not ever going to be as scary as the first time. So for sure, I think each and every single one is great and important. And so, you know, maybe you're right. Maybe there's more, you know, to the meditating, like I said,
or even zoning out.
Zoning out. It's weird because I don't look at it really like meditate, because when we meditate, we try to think of nothing. You know what I mean? Like this is truly just letting, you know, whatever it is you're doing, just truly just go, you know, be creative. Just let your mind just go on it. Your mind is a beautiful, wonderful thing, and it's targeted and it's zoned in. It's burnt up 100% on this scenario or this movements. Just let it go, you know.
Long runs help with that. A lot of people can draw and get those downloads when we can kind of put that mind in that, I don't know exactly what brainwave state, but allow it to just kind of process the information without brand new information coming in. You're almost kind of letting out the fuse a little bit when you're doing something.
Yep.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it really is.
Ricky, my man.
Yeah, buddy.
Bro, thank you so much.
That was cool.
Yeah, this is beautiful. Do you have anything left that you'd like to share? Anything that's on your heart or your mind right now?
Man, no, not really, brother. I just, you know, again, thank you. You know, I'm just absolutely just blessed. Life is so good. Just doing what I love to do. You know, I think it's great. And the people I've met, it just, again, thank you, anybody, everybody, for all the love, all the support. It means the world to me. It really does. You know, I got the same handful of sponsors I've had my whole career. Like, you know, thank all you guys so much. So, hell yeah, man, we're just getting started. It'll be great.
The beauty about you is that it is remarkably easy to support you. There's something about you, man. There are many things about you that just bring this supportive feeling for you, dude.
Thank you, brother.
It's so real and so true. And I believe it's because you're coming from a deeply genuine place and you really do want the betterment for yourself and other people. That's a sensation, bro. When people are very selfish or don't care about other people, it vibrates a different way. Yep. You don't hold that kind of vibration, dude.
If I can help, I absolutely want to and will. You know, it's just the martial arts is such a humbling sport. You know what I mean? Like, people think I'm a badass. Like, trust me, I'm just doing what I love to do. You know, it's just different than what you do. It's just, I don't know, you know, but we can all fight. We can all, you know, we're all faced with battles. I think that's why they relate, you know, to fighters kind of really, you know, it really is. Everything's a battle. It's all the obstacles, everything, like, really, you know, you hear me say it too. It's all the little things you can do that make the difference that you need to do. Like, you know, so life is good. Life is beautiful. Live, love, you know, life is all love. So just share the love.
Ricky, I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, for real. Until next time.
Later, bro.